Namaste, Jay Bharat. Any attempt or any theory that willfully, wantingly, and deliberately attempting to find out differences between phenomena existing in front of you must be taken with a pinch of salt. When someone tries to find differences between things around you, people around you, or phenomena around you, you can ask what makes one look for differences. One, if it is a pure analytical endeavor, that's one thing. Two, if the differences are obtained to create distinctions, to create contradiction and conflict, then that doesn't go well with the Sanskriti of my nation, because the Sanskriti of my nation is based on an epistemology of coexistence from the Vedopanishadic knowledge tradition. For instance, just look at just one quote, that is the last sukta of Rig Veda says or speaks of coexistence. Unified existence it speaks of, that is coexistence. Now here coexistence is not reduced to coexistence among human beings. Normally when we say coexistence and tolerance, normally people, especially in the European categorical conceptual enterprises and exercises, they extend this phenomenon of tolerance etc. only in human realm, human world. But the Vedopanishadic knowledge tradition is not confining itself to the human realm. It speaks about the entire cosmos. So when one speaks about finding differences between whatever is the case, if that attempt of finding difference is to create contradiction and conflict, then that is unwanted in an already established, long established and very formidable Sanskritic tradition. Now, the Vedopanishadic epistemology is epistemology of coexistence of the multiple and plural. There's one may be there, one may make an attempt to make distinctions, not differences, but make distinctions for his analytical understanding, which can be understood and which has nothing beyond comprehension and understanding. But when such things are created to create contradiction and conflict, that has to be checked. This is precisely what is happening in the post-general election arena of Bharat. You find leaders going around and speaking, spreading differences among different people. First of all, the first instrument for such people is the caste of the caste system in Hindu dharma. They treat the caste system as the only malady, the only problem we see around, and they keep talking about caste to the extent that one caste should feel antagonistic to other caste. See, the old Marxian theory, I call it as old Marxian theory because Marxism is not significant anymore. The old Marxian theory talks about class theories. They say two classes, and the relations between two classes is one part of a necessary antagonism, and they always exist in the relations of antagonistic relation, which is for Marxism contradiction and conflict. The same thing they are trying to repeat here, just for different kinds of political objectives and aims. And those who do these things and those who program and plan these things are not well lettered people. They just want immediate gains. They simply want immediate gains. And those who promote such people and push some people have got different objectives. They just wanted to weaken a nation, and then with lot of things behind it. It can't be just listed. it can't be just listed, because if you make inventory of such people, the inventory will be long and long and long. Maybe it will run into pages, who knows. So the thing is that when I see in the post general election scenario, the opposition go around the different nook and corner, and they try to create differences among people. And this attempt, of course, is in the European contradiction conflict pattern. You see, when John Locke, Rousseau, etc., when they created a social contract theory, they try to explain human society as a contractual coexistence. Now, look, this is a contractual coexistence, and all these political theorists like John Locke, is fundamentally a philosopher, of course, an empiricist. They say people come into contract to one another for their common good, to form a society where everyone will surrender some of their so-called freedom. Here the entire concept is reached. The concept of freedom is freedom of overaction. And later Marx was rightly corrected it in a good way. He says freedom is supposed to be from freedom from want, etc. But that's a different story. Maybe some other time we will discuss this. But the social contract theory says that man synthetically comes into contract with one another for mutual benefit. So they surrender some of their freedom and then they coexist. Now, typically against the social contract theory, Pujani Guruji spoke very clearly, which of course is recorded in a bunch of thoughts. He says, the Bharatiya society is not made on a contractual coexistence. He said, it's based on a concept of Tyaga. And Tyaga concepts can't simply be translated into the English term sacrifice, because Tyaga is much more intense and much more meaningful than a simple concept of sacrifice, which has different connotations in many cases. So that is how he talks about the coexistence of society. But actually, the coexistence in Bharatiya society is much beyond Tyaga, as a matter of fact. He was just reacting, the Pujani Guruji was just reacting to the social contract theories like people like Locke. So he was talking about Tyaga to make things simple, but it's much more than that. We have an epistemology of coexistence which is rooted in the Rigveda itself and subsequently in the Veda-Upanishadic knowledge tradition. And when someone tries to it's not finding differences, create differences and make people conscious about the differences so that there could be led to contradiction or conflict only because this man wants to assume power. He finds these people get frustrated without political authority and power. They just near at the verge of going insane because they don't have authority and they are unable to capture it in spite of all kinds of efforts. So anyway, when someone tries to make differences among our society, Bharatiya society, one should be against it. You see, people make difference between Dalits and non-Dalits. And then turn it into antagonism. It is a simple thing. There are theories which we were talking about. Females written history, female historians, Dalit historians. Now, suppose those who write history, among those historiographers, these kind of distinctions are made, and these distinctions are at once converted into a relation that of antagonism. Not simply antagonism, a necessary antagonism, so that there will be unrest and evil in society only because this somebody can't live without power. They will do anything. So whenever someone comes to you creating differences and distinctions, be careful. Be careful. Don't buy things simply like that. We will meet again. Namaste. Jai Bharat. Jai Shri Ram.